Welcome, I'm from Xiaomi Redmi 8A, and today I'll go over unboxing along with an overview of the device. So starting out, this is the box that it comes in. Nothing really special. Let's pop it open. You can see nothing in here really. Set it to the side, and then we get some booklets, has some, and some eject tool right here, so let's just get rid of these. There we go. Then we got the phone itself. I'll set it to the side. Now it's already set up, so I don't have to go through that. Just a piece of cardboard. And a charger, which is a nice step up from the lower tier version of this device. And a cable. So, and just drop those back in here and throw it to the side. And get the phone in front. So there we go. Now, when it comes to the device, it was released at September 30th, 2019. It's about a half a year ago, a little bit more. And before I start giving you any kind of specifications, and you're not aware of who this device is for, I'll start off by saying this device is probably one of the most budget devices you can get, and it is catering to those people that are looking for the budget option of a fairly decent device actually. So just to put that in perspective, this device costs roughly $100. It's a little bit more than the 7A. The 7A is cheaper, it costs $88 about, and this one is a little bit, I think like 110 or so, something like that. So it's a little bit more expensive, but you get a little bit more from it as well. And the key difference is that will start off probably a good comparison, so you know why not go for one or the other. So the difference between them, the 7 or 8A, which is this one, will come with a Type-C charging port. So you get the normal charging port that is now more of a standard. You have a faster charger, but significant amount. The tier down has a 10 watt, while this one has a 18 watt, so you'll be getting more. It has a bigger battery, a more modern look to it, based on the fact that you have the teardrop notch. You don't have huge bezels like on the lower version of this device. You also have a little bit more RAM if you choose to spec into a little bit more expensive version of this. And apart from that, everything is about the same almost. So those will be just the key differences. Now the question is if those differences are worth to you, to have bigger battery, faster charging, and just a more modern look in a way. If those are the choices that you want to have, or options that you want to have in your device, and this probably will be for you. It's not much more from the lower version of it. Like I said, the lower one costs about $88. This one costs a little bit over 100. So it's not much, but for some people, for instance, like the Type-C charging port might be the difference of buying this or not. So let me move it a little bit back. So apart from that, the key specifications of this device that you will get is a 6.22 inch display with a resolution of 720 by 1520, and it's an IPS display. The glass on it is a Gorilla 5. It's a little bit behind, but this is the budget device, the budget option that I would say it's really worth the money. And also, when it comes down to pixels per inch, it's fairly low because of that resolution. It's only at 270, so it is fairly low. But personally, the display is fairly vibrant. I don't really see that much of a difference from, for instance, my phone, which my phone comes with a 1440p. I have a Mate 20 Pro, so just as an example, this is it. And I honestly don't see any difference at the distance that it is right now. Now the differences that I will probably see is the fact that this is a LCD display while I have a OLED. So the colors will be a little bit more vibrant on mine, for instance, but comparing this to a flagship is not really a fair comparison right here. And on its own, the display is fairly respectable, I have to say. The colors are really nice and vibrant on it, even though it's an LCD. And like I said, I don't really see any kind of pixelation on it because of the low resolution on it. And then moving on, we have a 12 megapixel camera on the back. It's a single lens right here, nothing crazy, fairly low one as well. But I have tested the previous one, the 7A, and it was doing a respectable job capturing photos, better than I expected, honestly. Now, keep in mind that you won't be getting any like super amazing resolutions on this and some kinds of crazy stuff, but for the price that you pay for this device, I was surprised by the photos that it could capture. And as an example, we can do some right now. So just a quick snap right here, and I think I moved it. Yep. Oh no. Okay, there we go. As you can see, just a little example. Certain phones that are even way higher budget than this struggle with capturing the red area in here. As you can see on this device, it does it really well. Overall, there is a fair amount of detail in here. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it is decent. It's losing a little bit below where it tries to do like a bokeh effect. Apart from that, it did a fairly decent job. Now, I do have to say color comparing this thing. The picture seems a little bit darker overall. The colors are a little bit more washed out, I would say. So you won't be getting like these really nice true to life almost colors. But in terms of sharpness and just overall image quality, it's not bad for the price that you get. And also the fact that you're only using one lens, you don't have any kind of like super AI stuff and all that stuff that majority of the new devices have. Then we can also go to video and see how that captures it. Now the video is at 1080p 30 frames max, and actually before I start doing anything, let me check. Okay, so it is at 1080p at 30 right now. So as you can see, it's recording now. So it does capture, it does focus really well. It changed quickly from the focuses that wasn't really visible that much. I just set it. As you can see, I tapped on the option to play it a couple times, and it was struggling with getting that option going. Let me quickly go into what is the rotate? There we go. There we go. Let's try that again. As you can see, there is basically no image stabilization, which is to be expected, honestly. But in terms of how it captures focuses, it did it fairly well. Also, you can look at the selfie camera, so you can also get a good look at how that looks like. So now it does come out to be really blurry, I would say, overblown. It's super bright, as you can see. It's really missing a lot of, unless it focuses on the mic right here. But as you can see, it does some smoothing and other stuff. I don't look like I'm 15, so that is the selfie camera. Now, moving on, like I said before, we could spec into a higher version of this, and the only benefits of going higher, which will also in turn cost more, haven't really checked how much more, but I assume it won't be that much considering this is catered to be a budget device. But you have option with 32 gigabytes of storage, and you have two options of RAM, 2 and 3 gigabytes RAM. And then if you go even higher to 64 gigabytes memory, you have a only 4 gigabyte version. Personally, I would advise you to go with as high RAM as you can basically afford, because 3, in my opinion, seems a little bit below bare minimum that I would personally like. So honestly, if I would have to choose, I would go with a 4. But then again, the question is if your budget can allow you that. If not, just go for as much RAM as you can. The storage is less important because the device has a expansion for SD card. So let me just pop that out and you can see it. So you have two different SIM trays and an SD tray. So you can expand that storage further past the 32 gigabyte or 64. So that is not really a concern there. But you won't be ever able to expand the RAM storage or memory. And additionally, the device has an Android 10 by default, as you can see. So that is really nice, getting the latest Android with all of its benefits. I'm really liking Android 10 on my device, and this is basically the same, just a different skin over it. So thumbs up for the Android 10 here. And what else is there to say? The only thing I can say more is just about the overall visual aesthetic of it. So the device is primarily plastic, as you've probably already seen and felt if you have the device in your hand. It's not really like any kind of art piece right here in your hand. It has a weirdly textured back, as you can see. And then on the right side, you have the volume rockers and power key. On the bottom, you do have a headphone jack and a charging port, the Type-C that I was talking about before. On the top, you have just a microphone. And then on the left, you have the SIM tray and SD tray. And the version that I have in front of me right here is the Midnight Black in terms of color. And you also have two different options. So you have the Ocean Blue and Sunset Red. And they're basically visible on the box right here, as you can see. And I don't think there's anything more to say. Honestly, for the price that you pay for this device, just the same way as the 7A, the device is worth, well, every cent, I would say. It's a really good device for the money you pay. It does the job that it's supposed to do. The only downside is it does struggle sometimes, chugs a bit, because the Snapdragon 439 isn't really handling, I guess, Android 10 too well. So you will have certain times where you try to, for instance, write something, or apps are opening up longer. So you will see that keyboard isn't always opening up super fast as it's supposed to whenever the app launches. The apps are launching a little bit slow, but then if you're buying this device, you're not looking for the raw power of a phone probably, so you most likely are aware of that fact. Then also, like I said, the camera does a fairly decent job, respectable for the price, I would say. And other than that, you do have a Play Store if you're wondering. So again, thumbs up for that. With all the Play services, you're not missing out on anything. I did review a different device from, I believe it was a Huawei. Also a really budget device, similarly priced to this one. Also Android 10, but it was lacking in all the Google services stuff, so you didn't have any Play Store and anything. And if you relied on that, well, then you were kind of bummed out. So this is the alternative to be basically as good, if not better, and actually have the Play Store if you're really dependent on it. And yeah, so to finish this off, if you're looking for a budget device and your budget can, well, allow you to get just a little bit of a higher tier one, I would totally advise on this one. If you're struggling with money, and then the 7A, which is the lower spec one, just as a, I can bring it up here, I actually do have it right next to me. So this is the 7A. As you can see, it's smaller, significantly smaller, and does have a little bit of a more outdated look to it, but it also costs about $20-30 less. So if you're looking for cheaper version, then probably the 7A would be for you. If you can afford it, I would totally go for this one. And yeah, so that will be the conclusion of this overview. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.